Yeah. Barb, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you so much. I would like to go back to David's question. You seem to lay out, with your reasoning, very much a case that in fact security assistance is being done phased, is being done in slices, is being done piecemeal. If I could just finish. You lay out, thank you, I appreciate it. You lay out a very comprehensive case of U.S. strategy for doing it that way in order to make it, in the view of the U.S., the most efficient for the Ukrainians to be able to take advantage of these sequential shipments. But President Zelensky, since the very beginning, I just want to close the loop. President Zelensky, since the very beginning, has basically begged the world for as much in weaponry as fast, and I know you say you're doing it as fast as you can, but as fast as it can be gotten to Ukraine's fighters. So the Russian strategies, everybody knew they were going to go into Donbass. That was not a secret. I'm just wondering if you're looking at this and from this point forward, perhaps looking at a different way of doing this other than in these slices or phases. Yeah, is there another way to do it?
Let me push back on this verb of slicing it, because I don't think that's an accurate way of putting it. It's not about slicing. It is about packaging this, and it's about doing it in a way that accurately and most effectively meets the needs of the Ukrainians in the moment and on the ground and in the fight that they're in. And that fight has changed. You said it was fairly obvious to everybody that they were going to focus on the Donbass. Well, Barb, maybe you have better intelligence than we do. It wasn't obvious to everybody that that was what they were going to eventually end up going to. If you remember, back on the 27th of February, they were attacking Ukraine along 3 main lines of axis. And one of them, and the one that everybody here was all worried about, as around the world was worried about, was Kyiv. And there was all this discussion about how fast Kyiv was going to fall and when were the Russians going to take it and how inevitable it was that Kyiv was going to fall. And it didn't. And one of the reasons it didn't was because we flowed in a lot of javelins. And other countries flowed in other capabilities to help them stop the Russian advance. They failed because they didn't properly plan for logistics and sustainment. They made mistakes of their own. And so the systems that we gave them, we and other nations gave them, helped them in the battle for Kyiv and helped force the Russians to stop their advance. That was the focus for the moment, and it was rightly the focus for the moment. Okay, now it's the middle of April. The Russians have had to recalibrate. They've had to change their strategy. They've said it publicly themselves. You're seeing it on the ground. They're focusing on the Donbass. That is a different terrain. That is a different fight. It requires different capabilities for both sides. And so in our iterative conversations with the Ukrainians, they have said, now that we're focusing on the Donbass, now that we know that's where the fight is coming, we really need fill in the blank, right? And artillery was one of those fills in the blanks. And so that's why we're focusing on this. And that's the right way to do this, because the war does change over time. And it would be foolish for us to just throw the kitchen sink at them and then not have any flexibility as the war changes to make changes in the moment. Now, I understand President Zelensky wants as much as he can, as fast as he can, too. I mean, his country's under siege. It's under attack. I perfectly understand that. But we've got to make sure that we're helping him in the most effective way, and we believe we are. And we'll see what what future packages look like. But I guarantee you, whatever they look like, they're going to be tailored based on the Ukrainians' needs in the moment and what they most require.
And do you feel that Ukraine can continue to wait while the Pentagon and the suppliers that you work with around the world can contemplate these moments as they emerge? I'm just asking if there's a different way that you might be thinking about doing business.
We're always wanting to improve. I mean, nobody's going to stand up here and say we do everything perfectly every single time. And if there's a way to get more stuff there faster, we'll stay open to that. Absolutely. Nobody's boasting here. Nobody's patting ourselves on the back. But let me just stress again, the incredible speed and scale with which material is getting over there. In recent memory, in recent history, truly unprecedented, and that is not an exaggeration. From the time, as I said, the president authorized this latest $800 million on the 13th of April, 48 hours later, on the 15th, the first plane was taken off with stuff in that package. And we're still completing prior packages of things that are still getting in there. So every single day at these transshipment sites in Europe, there's somewhere on the neighborhood of 8 to 10 flights coming in. And they're not all U.S. flights, and they're not all coming from America, but 8 to 10 flights. And every single day, Barb, that material is getting put on pallets and put on ground delivery transportation means and getting into Ukraine via a various amount of routes.
But a week ago, you knew that Donbass was the target. You might not have known.
And a week ago, we were talking to the Ukrainians about what they would need as that fight was following up.
They laid out well, you're going to say that you won't answer this, but
Go ahead, try me.
Yeah, I will. Have they laid out to you, even if you don't want to say what it is, have they laid out to you the next phase of what they think they need? And are you hearing that they are satisfied with a phased approach? If not sliced, it is phased.
I would tell you that we are having constant discussions with the Ukrainians. I don't want to leave you or anybody else with the impression that it is, as David described, sliced like a piece of cake, like, okay, this is what you're going to get, and then we don't talk to them again until the next piece of cake is needed. We're talking to them all the time. So even after we arranged for this $800 million security package, in fact, even as that discussion was going on and those decisions were being made and the sourcing was being done, we were having discussions with Ukrainians about future needs and what that might look like. And those discussions have happened since the 13th of April, and we'll see where it goes. I'm not going to get ahead of decisions that haven't been announced yet. But it is a constant conversation that we're having with them. It's not just slice one and be done and wait for the next one. And we hang up the phone and don't talk to each other for a few days until there's another acute need. That's not how this is going. It's a constant conversation. Yeah.